What is up, guys? So today I'm going to be answering a question I always get. What is my daily driver and why haven't I upgraded from the 7 Pro? It's a little bit of an older phone. I know it's kind of strange for somebody that kind of, plays with tech and stuff like that, to not have the latest phone or whatever. But honestly, the OnePlus 7 Pro is still a very special phone to me, and I think it's still one of the best smartphones out right now. So you can actually pick the 7 Pro up for around $300 to $400 depending on where you get it. I'll put the link down below to where I got mine on Amazon, but they go for even cheaper on eBay as well. So the 7 Pro, basically it's a display, guys. I was really upset when the OnePlus 8 Pro came out and they went with the punch hole way. And they probably went with that for several reasons, right? It might be, just the manufacturing costs. It's going to be cheaper to make those punch hole displays because, this phone has the, pop-up camera up top. And yeah, so, it was kind of disappointing to see that go, but that was like the main selling point with this phone, is that when you pick this phone up, it just feels like you're holding a display in your hand. And this is definitely the future of smartphones. So this phone is very futuristic still, because in the future all smartphones will have a display like this where there is no intrusion. It's just going to be all display, and the camera is going to be under the glass. Of course, we've seen prototypes from, I can't remember which company, but we've seen prototypes of this technology already. And yeah, so when I saw this, I was like, oh, this is definitely the future. And if going to anything else just seems backwards to me, right? It just seems like I'm not getting the best of the best. And not only is this just a, it's a full screen display, but it's also a very nice display. So it's a Fluid AMOLED 90 Hertz display, HDR 10 plus. And OnePlus, I don't think they were the first to do the 90 Hertz, but they definitely brought it to the mainstream now. So all flagships now have to have a 120 Hertz or 90 Hertz. Like we saw with the iPhone 12 Pro, that did not have the 90 Hertz, and it got dragged for that. So that's why I was like, it's not even really a Pro phone, because it just doesn't have a high refresh rate. This is also a 1440p display, so when you're watching content on here, it just looks absolutely beautiful on this display. It just gives you a really immersive experience. So these phones are really great for people that watch a lot of content. You do a lot of scrolling on, Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is, TikTok, whatever you do. This is gonna make a huge difference. It's just gonna make everything just feel super immersive, and that's one of the things that I fell in love with it. And the punch hole, just now that I've got this phone and I've gotten accustomed to it, my eyes always kind of wandered to the punch hole. Like, yeah, you can use a black wallpaper and cover it up, but you can't really do that when you're in your applications and stuff like that, unless you want to, I've seen a couple apps where they try to hide it and push the OS down, but who wants to do that? Another thing about this phone is the hardware still looks pretty good. I know most phones these days have the little trendy square design, so a lot of people have said, well, it looks a little dated, but I still think it looks pretty good to me. It's a glass and metal phone. It's very thin, and I just really like the design on here. The screen is curved, which some people don't like, but I actually like it. It gives off that feeling where it just feels like a big screen. But I don't get accidental touches with this phone because I actually just use a case with it, so I noticed that helps. But if you don't use a case, then I know that could be a little bit annoying as well. But hardware wise, it's really nice. This phone does lack a headphone jack, which is something that I wish it had. I really wish this phone had a headphone jack. I really do miss that. That's the only thing I don't like about this phone. But you got USB type C at the bottom, stereo speakers on here as well. The stereo speakers are pretty loud. I don't think they're as good as the LG V60. Those are some of the best quality speakers that I've heard, but they are pretty loud. you actually get a nice sort of bass on here, as far as hearing the 808s and kicks and stuff like that, and it does not distort at high volumes, which is something that I really love. So the speakers are actually really nice on here. So the 7 Pro runs Oxygen OS, and it also runs the latest version of Android. This should get Android 12, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, I wish it got longer software updates, but by the time Android 12 comes out, I should be ready to upgrade, so it's not a huge deal to me, but this should get support up to Android 12. I believe it's 3 years is what OnePlus is promising, but that is one of the main reasons. Oxygen OS is super smooth. I like this skin better than One UI and LG's skin. I just think it's really smooth, and I like how they have everything laid out in these settings and stuff like that. I just really like it, and you have a lot of customization that you can do. I like how they have that set up, and it's not overly like a bunch of stuff. Like, it's not like a bunch of stuff everywhere, like in skins like MIUI 12 or even the One UI, where there's just like kind of like an overwhelming sense when you go into these settings a little bit. But that's, you know, that could just be me. I'm not somebody that does a whole bunch of customization anymore with my phones anyway, but I do like this very clean look. If I was going to pick another OS, it would probably be like just the standard Pixel, you know, stock Google experience. That is the stuff that I really like. But this phone also runs the Snapdragon 855 and Adreno 640. So far, performance wise, I've never had an issue with this phone as far as playing video games and stuff like that. I've done gaming tests on this phone. If you guys want to see it, you can still play Call of Duty, PUBG, Fortnite at high settings, no problem on this phone. And like I said, that full screen experience is going to be just really awesome, because it just gives you, again, a more immersive experience. So you really like get into the game, and you're really just looking at everything, and it's just really nice not to have that intrusion. Now, I know that is not a huge deal for everyone, right? A lot of people don't really care about that, but like I said, you have to be very media focused to, you know, appreciate a device like this. So that's like its main selling point to me, is just being very media focused when you're gaming or just, you know, scrolling through the phone, pretty much doing anything. It just gives you a really awesome experience that I just really love. Now, another kind of bummer thing with this phone is that you do not have any SD card support, which kind of sucks, but you get 128 gigs. So if you're somebody that takes a lot of video, a lot of pictures, this could be a problem for you. So you might want to get the 256 gig version. But you do have 6 gigs of RAM on here. Like I said, no headphone jack. You do have NFC on board as well for your mobile payments, which is really nice. And yeah, it's just super solid. Also, I want to talk about the cameras. The cameras are really good on here. I think OnePlus has come a long way with the software updates from when this phone first came out. So you have a triple camera setup. It's a 48 megapixel standard, 8 megapixel telephoto, and a 16 megapixel ultra wide. You get 4K video, 30 or 60 FPS, and you also get the selfie pop-up camera, that's 60 megapixels at 1080p. And I noticed a lot of people, they like the pop-up camera because I guess it offers a sense of privacy, so you know that the phone is not watching you. So that is something that, if you're really like paranoid about that, that's also a really cool thing to think about. Also, the fingerprint scanner is under the display, and I think OnePlus makes some of the best under display fingerprint scanners. It's almost effortless. It's just a little tap, and it's 100% accurate almost all the time. I've never had an issue with this phone. And you also have the face unlock on here as well, so you can do that. And I've never had an issue with like the camera jamming up and stuff like that, so you do have that on here too. So overall, I just really love this device. It just does everything how you would expect it to do. So let's talk about battery life. So now, battery life, I usually can get through a full day no problem. I'm probably at like 30% by the end of the day. So we did a drain test on this phone, and you get around 8 hours of screen on time. But like I said, if you're a heavy user on this phone, you can definitely get through a full day no problem on this guy, which is something that I really like. You have a 4,000 milliamp battery, 30 watt fast charging, so it also charges fairly fast as well. Now this phone does not have any type of wireless charging, so that kind of sucks, because it's always nice to be able to just like, you know, put your phone down and then it starts charging. That's always like a really nice feature to have. But what do you guys think of the OnePlus 7 Pro? And be sure to let me know, do you have one? What do you like about it? What don't you like about it? Be sure to let me know, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.